Today we are engaged on a political tour to one of our veteran of the movement, but part of the visit is for us to see a lot of work that has been done within the space of community development, because the concept of community development is very broad and comes in many ways. This is one individual that has played that important role in contributing to the upbringing of many children within the greater Giyani municipality because of various interventions that were done. And today there is a delegation of the South African Communist Party that it's here. And the objectives obviously is not just to be on a tour, but is to be able to imbue all these interventions and see that moving forward ourselves as the Communist Party, how do we then multiply where an individual could do such great development, and then what about when it's a collective efforts that we could do. So we are led obviously by the highest office of the South African Communist Party, but joined along with the provincial leadership in Limpopo province, the district leadership in Lawrence Pukanuka. So this is part of, I think, appreciating Comrade Moss for the contributions as made to the party itself. And indeed, it's a good day to you. With our delegation, we have the district leadership led by our district secretary, Comrade Nkwangulatilo. With his collective, we have the provincial leadership that is led by the provincial chairperson today, Comrade Goodman and Dilene, alongside with the first DPS, Comrade Skinja, and Ramkumo with PC members that have joined the delegation. And we have our host stalwart, Comrade Malati, one energetic man that can even just run from any part of the world. Today you see him in Joburg, tomorrow when you get it's somewhere else. Very energetic, more than us as the youth, but still very there. He has joined us. We have a delegation of comrades from the head office of the party, and those that are from the provincial office joining us. But surely today it's not my day. There are two veterans of the organization, despite the other one is still an active veteran, but because of losing his youthful stage in dedicating to her and fighting for us to get this democratic breakthrough. We have Comrade Giyani Limpopo, member of the Central Committee of the party, a member of the Politburo, who's again the head of Secretariat, and is the one that it's obviously leading the delegation of the CC that has accompanied our General Secretary, Comrade Soli Afrika Mapaila, who in essence it's reconnecting with this old man that is seated next to us here, Comrade Moss. Maybe because today we are here, this plot has been there, Comrade GS. There were consequences that would have happened, that it happens that probably you finish your first term without visiting. So it's not the matter of just inspired to come here, but there was a clear mandate that was given to say, you see, the day that will fail to bring that man, you must never ever set your foot here. So you must make sure you find a way to convince him because it seems he's no longer willing to visit me. So find a way to make him to come here so that we can reconnect. And I think today it's all about the two of you that will have some political reflections and discussions about the state of our revolution, obviously, the state of the working class itself, where we are today, and what becomes the task moving ahead, because all of us as the youth, as the young people, despite that we are relatively young or relatively old, I always say we are the missing middle of the age times, because we are neither young nor old. So it depends how you get to be characterized at a particular moment. So with these words, I want to invite the General Secretary of the South African Communist Party, on behalf of the 15th Congress Central Committee, will take over. Comrade Gias.
Firstly, Comrade Moss. Moss is firstly more than a comrade to me. And he's right. I haven't been here for too long. I used to visit not just him, but at the house, at his house. Particularly when I was the national organizer, I would not spend a quarter of in a year without seeing Moss. So he was one of those comrades that we worked very well together to strategize on party building. Has always been a committed revolutionary and activist. So that respect stays. But when he launched this project, I also came to the school, by the way, some years ago. But he's right, I needed to come now in this capacity. And I'm happy to be here, Comrade Moss, and to congratulate you on this great achievement. Huge contribution to our society, huge contribution to the development of comradeship and revolutionaries. Let me first also greet all the comrades that are here that Comrade Yugo recognized, members of our Central Committee, Comrade Giyani, and Comrade Goodman, Provincial Chairperson, and Comrade Skinja, our First Deputy Provincial Secretary, and members of the PC, Comrade Tabo, and Nkwangulatilo from our district, the District Secretary, as well as the People's General, General Malaiti of Nkwangulatilo Liberation War Veterans, a member of the Utility Detachment of Nkwangulatilo, for his presence here. Last week we were with him in Johannesburg. But we felt that it would be important to take one of our programs this side, particularly on community development and rural development program, wherein we're trying to emulate self-reliance of our communities. And I think what Comrade Moss has done is to prove that you can be a social entrepreneur that produces to build a society and a different society. You can see where we are. This is a school, but it's a revolutionary school. And this is very important. Just a couple of months ago, I think early this year, I had a discussion with our research team that had brought together a number of academics who are in different universities and research institutions. And one of the things we were discussing with them was the decline of revolutionary content in education. And when I closed that school, or when I addressed that school, I actually called on them that we need to establish our own schools. We have the Jack Simon Party School, where we train people in ideology and political education, seminars and so forth. But what we require now is to set up our own party schools, registered as private schools, because we have undermined this concept of independence. We have been calling for public schools to develop quality revolutionary education, and it has not been forthcoming. So we have to do it. We can't wait for them. whilst encouraging them to do so, nothing stops us from establishing a similar school as this one, and from supporting this school to grow as much as it can, because this is a revolutionary school. Look on the walls here. We have the flag of Frelimo, Comrade Rock da Silva, General Secretary of Frelimo. He was here. We had a bilateral with them a couple of months ago. He'll be excited to come here and see this. We have the flag of Angola, of South Africa, and other places. We have luminaries of revolutionaries adorning the walls in the school. Now, this is very important. Now, in our public schools, it's almost like a criminal offense to have the picture of Fidel Castro on the walls, because Fidel Castro is a revolutionary, as if this government has not been led by revolutionaries. In any case, the government is gone, the government of revolutionaries. It's no more. We'll talk about that in our interface here. But the point here is the fact that we can emulate this kind of endeavors. That's why we felt that our comrades must come and see for themselves what can be done at each and every community to change the way we see things. The orientation of the students here will be quite different. That's why, for instance, they are scooping many brilliant awards, for top marks, for achieving high rates. And I mean, this is one school is there. We were saying there that the pass mark is 80%. And I'm like, oh gosh, you know. My little girl at home has got a serious problem. Well, she's a brilliant girl. The mother wants 100%. If she gets 80%, it's not enough. The mother will be saying, where's the other 20%? And I keep saying, no, the girl is doing well, wow. Oh, so hard. Now I came here, the school's orientation is minimum 80%. That's why they get this 100% pass rate, even in matric. It's one of the best performing schools, not only in Limpopo, but in the rest of South Africa. And it's led by a communist cadre. And I wish Comrade Moss, I hear Comrade Diniko focuses too much on you being a veteran. For me, you'll always just be my comrade. You can still play a major role in politics. You should not say you are a veteran and therefore veterans can't play a major role in politics. General Malachi and others. We must play a role in politics. We must not be driven out of politics as the older generation.
And the title veteran.
Yes, but you can still have that title. It's not a problem. But the issue is that you don't leave the political space. So this is very important. So we wanted our comrades at least to come and see this project. What we have done, what we have achieved. I mean, I know when just after you opened the pool, it's when the government had designated it as a primary requirement. And you're not doing it for the schools. And you put it up for the school with the appropriate requirements, including for Olympic training. But when you have bourgeois orientation, they can't even send their children to come and use this pool, when actually they should be, because we are lacking those kind of facilities. So you stood up to build facilities in a poor community, to make this community confident, to uplift it, and that's what makes us happy. The restoration of the dignity of the African child and of all the people has made us very happy with this kind of contributions. You are doing agriculture, self-reliant. I mean, we just had food. Everything that we ate comes from the farm. This is the point. This is the thing that we're talking about. Our people don't have to die of poverty when they can actually stand up and in a collective form sustain themselves and their livelihoods without waiting for some capitalist to come and exploit them before they can. We are always. This is what we are fighting against, and this example is important for us. Hence, we not only coming to show our comrades this important lesson of what you are doing, and also to keep the reconnection between the Communist Party and this school, between the Liberation Forces, the ANC, the leagues, including our own Young Communist League, to keep contact with the school, to work together with the school, to also bring their children to this school. Because in the context where we only send our children to schools where there's no consciousness. I was at the Pretoria, at the Freedom Park Monument in Pretoria on Wednesday. The Freedom Park, we had a series of discussions about President Mandela's legacy, as well as the legacy of Mam Charlotte Maxeke Makgomo, who was the first African woman to graduate with a degree, a BSc, a Bachelor of Science degree in 1901 in the US. So celebrating these two important leaders and achievements, the Freedom Park Monument invited the Pretoria High School. We had good discussions with them, they posed nice, good questions, but when they were closing the session, they asked one chap, one boy, to represent the school to close the session. The boy was terrible. He castigated women, told them that no, this is him, not me. And of course we responded to correct him. He says, no, women, if you give them Louis Vuitton bags, they are happy, that's it. And he says Generation Z doesn't have a problem with racism. They don't know racism. It's us who are complaining about racism. Everyone was furious in the world. So we had to correct him and so forth. But the following day, actually that day when we were there, comes out a scandal in Pretoria Girls High School, or Pretoria High School for Girls, of racism affecting the very same his own peers and his own generation. So it also says much about the consciousness. In fact, he also said, no, this was the second one from that school. I have agreed that I will go and sit down with the school. I had a discussion with the teachers as well. One of them says, yeah, you guys, you say you want the land. You South Africans, you African guys, you say you want the land. When you handed over the land, you gave the land to the Europeans. So he doesn't know that we come from a long history of struggle, from a history of dispossession by white colonial racists. We had wars of resistance by our leaders, kings and queens, who fought to defend the land. We had the liberation struggle to continue in the wars of resistance. Almost a project of 500 years. That is why when the ANC, and not much with the alliance, but when the ANC trying to include the alliance in its sellout position regarding the government of national unity, where we are taking back the land, the liberation of this country, back to white control, back to white rule, back to capital, the forces that have dominated us over the years, back to imperialism, because that's what DA represents. Now, there's no justification whatsoever. We could have done this thing differently. And of course, most when I arrived here, you were complaining, where were you? We were there. We fought, we put the ideas on the table, our ideas were made public. But the dominant factor of the ANC is undemocratic ideas and example. You didn't listen to those ideas, important ideas. That is why today our revolution is in a flux. We don't know whether we're going or moving. We're here, for instance, if you listen to some of these new ministers, particularly from the DA, how they castigate government themselves every day. So it's like they are the new messiahs. The colonizers speak in the language of the new messiahs of our revolution, of our people. And they have developed this language, these ideas, as a kind of a social hegemon that everyone must accept. They are dominant, their ideas are the best, precisely because they have taken over the consciousness of society. Even those Pretoria high school children, for instance, when we had a discussion with them, their hatred for the ANC was unbelievable. Children in high school already hating the ANC, basically the liberation movement. So we have to do more by building this kind of schools, by expanding this kind of schools that have got much more consciousness about where we come from and where we are going. Because in the context of that, we are always on the defensive. When you come, for instance, you are even not having enough time to articulate the non-racial question, because you come from a defensive position to try and deal with the restoration of racism through the back door because of the weaknesses of our leadership, because of the weaknesses in the national liberation movement. And this is a thing that we need to literally correct going forward. But overall, as my remark, I don't know what Mos is going to raise, and I think we're here for a possible debate. We want to thank you for this important achievement. Keep this thing up. Don't be despondent. I know sometimes that there's not enough recognition, but our structures in the province, even at national level, it's our duty to recognize the achievement of this school. We can't write general statements when a communist is doing good, because when we say it's a communist, we are not buying his face. This is our leader, this is our activist. Yes, he led the Communist Party at different levels and remains committed to the ideals of the communist movement. And even the ideology in the schools, it's felt. You can see the words. There's Lenin, there's Che, there's Marshall, there's Fidel, there's Mandela, there's Mao, there's Xi Jinping. This is the commitment that we want. No, that's fine. Thank you very much. And thanks for the food as well. Good food. From the farm, everything. We appreciate it.
Yeah, I was taught by the Deputy Secretary, Skinch, how to farm.
I thank you much.
Yeah, no, I just feel honored. Say muito obrigado. I just honored that the Central Committee managed to set foot here. It's an honor to me. I don't have much to say except that Cambe Fidel, Amilcar Cabral, Sintumer Africa, meus antepassados todos nasceram aqui. Minha Africa, that's that. So, can we interpret?
I feel great to be an African. Meus antepassados nasceram aqui. My grandfathers, mothers, they were born here. That is Amilcar Cabral. Would say so.
It's a poem.
It's a sort of a poem. Meus antepassados nasceram, they were born here. So sinto mergulhoso. I feel great that I'm an African.
So my Africa,
my Africa, welcome.
So yeah, welcome. So, Comunista Partido Sul-Africano, you can interpret.
Yeah, so it's the South African Communist Party, welcome.
So I'm going to be an internationalist. Yeah, we because of constraints interest of time, I think we can go and show, but my interest is NHI. So what we're going to do, we're going to show what we are doing, but build a private hospital, and then also a private college, and then a farm, and then we're intending to build a private university. So when we talk about education, let us make education fashionable. But my problem is that in South Africa, our content, aina politiki. You ask who's Mandela, who's this, who's this guy here? Huh? Mugabe. So, who's that guy here? Nelson Mandela. Who's that guy? It's an embarrassment. This one is a second wife of Samora Machel, Josina A. And then Banagras became the third wife of Machel. He passed on, and then she married Mandela as a third wife. The only woman in the world who married 2 state presidents in her lifetime as a third wife, and both of them died. So I wish Umsholozi, she married Umsholozi. No, thank you very much. Let us go and have a small talk. No, thank you very much. I'm joking. Umsholozi.